This video is brought to you by Incogni. Today, analysts weigh the global economic impacts of an Iran-Israel war. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer agrees to pay back £6,000 worth of donations, and Melania Trump expresses her support for abortion rights. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Thursday the 3rd of October 2024. In our main story today, we discuss the potential global economic impacts of a full-scale war in the Middle East. On Tuesday night, Iran, one of the world's biggest oil producers and the third biggest in OPEC in August, launched a missile attack on Israel, causing global oil prices to spike as Israel vowed retaliation. That's because Israel's response may well involve targeting Iranian oil facilities, and in turn, Iran or Iran's proxies would likely respond by targeting oil and gas shipping in the Persian Gulf. For context, Iran is producing oil at a 5-year high of more than 3 million barrels per day, and according to data from the US Energy Information Administration, Iran accounted for about 4% of global oil production last year. This might sound like a small figure, but research has shown that events like Iran's nationalization of the BP-owned Anglo-Iranian oil company in the 1950s, the Iranian Revolution in the 1970s, and the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s all caused crude oil prices to rise, increasing inflation and driving up consumer prices. So, any attack on Iranian oil infrastructure in the coming days could well send prices higher. According to energy market analysts Rapidan Energy, if Iran's oil exports of around 1.8 million barrels per day were taken offline, prices would likely jump by at least $5 per barrel. And if Iran then responded by threatening the 13 million barrels of crude oil and 5 million barrels of products flowing through the Persian Gulf, oil prices could jump by $10 per barrel. So, could an escalation of this type actually destabilise the global economy? Well, this is a complex question involving supply and demand. Global oil prices have, so far, stayed surprisingly low, partly because markets are still not convinced that Iranian oil supplies are at risk, but also because demand-side factors such as the slowing global economy and record production of crude oil by the US have also pushed prices down throughout the year. However, the escalation we're currently seeing in the Middle East is unprecedented, and some analysts have spoken about the complacency of commodities traders regarding the risk of supply disruption. That said, OPEC has 5.6 million barrels per day of spare capacity that can be brought to the market in the event of an attack on Iran, with Saudi Arabia keen to return as much of its oil back to the market as possible. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like Josh McCarter, then consider joining the TLDR Daily Membership Programme for just $1.99. Moving to the UK now, where UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is trying to draw a line under his ongoing gift scandal saga. Over the last few weeks, senior members of the government have been publicly defending their decision to accept gifts and freebies from prominent businessmen and businesses. While many of them have argued that any of the gifts they received were properly reported, and therefore all above board, it seems the Prime Minister is trying to get ahead of the scandal. He's agreed to pay back £6,000 worth of gifts and hospitality that he received this summer, and has also commissioned a new set of principles on gifts and hospitality that will soon be published as part of the updated ministerial code. Both of these steps build on a statement from the Prime Minister recently, in which he promised that members of the government will no longer accept any free clothes. Moving to the US now, where former First Lady and the potential next First Lady, Melania Trump, has written passionately about her support for abortion rights. This support comes from a book set to be published next week, in which she argues that it's imperative to guarantee that women have autonomy in deciding their preference of having children, based on their own convictions, free from any intervention or pressure from the government. She adds, why should anyone other than the woman herself have the power to determine what she does with her own body? A woman's fundamental right of individual liberty to her own life grants her the authority to terminate her pregnancy if she wishes. These comments put her at odds not only with the Republican Party, but her husband Donald Trump, under whom there was a serious degradation of reproductive rights. Back in 2022, for instance, the Supreme Court case Dobbs v. Jackson overruled the 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling, which had protected federal abortion rights. Donald Trump himself tried to take credit for this decision. In EU news, the far-right Patriots for Europe group has gained 2 new MEPs from the far-right Polish Confederation Party. Anna Brilke and Tomasz Buczek were 2 of 6 MEPs elected to the European Parliament in June. But instead of joining a single group, the party split into 2, with 3 MEPs joining the Europe of Sovereign Nations group and the other 3 remaining independent. On Tuesday, however, Brilke announced in a post on X that she and Buczek had joined Patriots for Europe. She said that the group, which also includes Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban's Fidesz party, Jordan Bardella's National Rally, and Santiago Abascal's Vox party, is focused on defending national interest against EU legal arrogance, and added that climate policy, the Green Deal, uncontrolled immigration, and bureaucratic ossification are the basic disease afflicting the European Union. The addition of the 2 Polish MEPs takes Patriots for Europe's total to 86, where it remains the 3rd biggest parliamentary force after the centre-right European People's Party, with 187 members, and the left-wing Socialists and Democrats, with 136. And finally, in some uplifting news, we discuss a new portrait series commissioned to recognise the contribution of migrant workers to the UK's National Health Service. Taken by photographer and Oscar-nominated director J.J. Keith, the series celebrates 23 NHS workers from the Imperial College Healthcare NHS Trust in London, including midwives, catering staff, porters and trauma surgeons, all of whom are first-generation immigrants. The series is part of Keith's Open Britain project, which aims to spotlight the lives of immigrants across the UK. His NHS photographs depict individuals in their scrubs or hospital uniforms, always centred and framed by the spaces where they work. The shots are really soft and inspiring, and we definitely recommend checking them out. For context, it's estimated that around 17% of the NHS workforce are non-British nationals, but the figure for first-generation immigrants is likely to be even higher. Keith told Positive News that he wanted people to be thankful for the diversity within the NHS and how important these workers are. He said, "The feeling and thoughts I want to inspire are as diverse as the people and stories themselves, but if I had to pick just one, it would be gratitude." Now, as we've demonstrated in this video, there's a huge amount of uncertainty in the world of politics and current affairs, often with few easy solutions. Unfortunately, this can be the case online too. There are all kinds of bad actors out there that want to try and use you to make a quick buck. Take, for instance, data brokers. They collect, aggregate, and sell your personal information, including names, aliases, social security numbers, login credentials, home addresses, location history, online activity, and more to the highest bidder. This can result in everything from spam to identity theft. Luckily for you, though, there is a solution: Incogni. They work on your behalf to request your personal data removal. They also deal with any objections, and to make sure that your personal information isn't shared by the brokers again, conduct repeated removal requests. And with their family and friends plan, they'll even do this for you and up to 3 of, well, your friends and family. So, create an account with our link in the description. Grant Incogni the ability to work on your behalf, and sit back as they make you safer. Plus, by using our link, you'll get an exclusive 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Thanks for checking it out, and thanks to Incogni for sponsoring this video.